Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. It's Learning Hunt.
In this video, we'll see how to use array and function in an object. So let's create an object first. Now our object name and the playlist and also the function is created. Now it's time to access this. Okay, so for that you can access your object member with the help of object name and then dot notation. So I use here the console.log. Just let me show you an example. So I use the console.log and I want to print my name. So channel's name here, that is my channel name is, and I use the plus sign here, and here I use the object member. So for that I have to call an object, then dot, and then I can use this object name and object member. So here I use at first the object name first, and then I give some space, and then I again use object member, that is the last name here. Now I want to print, so I save this file and refresh my page. Now you can see that my channel name is Learning and Hunt. So here you can see that I didn't give here my channel name, that it's take this string from here. I give the name here, that is Learning and Hunt. This is, and I also use inside this console.log, that is my ID is and then obj.id. Here you can see that now you can also see my ID here. When I refresh my page, now you can see that my ID is 34. I have to give here some space, then you can see clearly here. Now you can see that I access here the object member. In that way you can access an object member. So let's access array members also. So for that I again use here the console.log to make a different line here, and I use the object dot playlist, and here you can see that when I print this, then you can see that my object array here, as you can see that this is my object array, and you can also print the objects array with the help of value. If you have no idea about the array, how to create the array, then you can see my video. The link is in the I button and also is in the description. So let's call our array. So for that I used a string here at first, that is my playlist is obj.playlist. Here you can see that my all playlist is showing with this string. Here you can see my playlist is HTML, CSS and a string. This is a string, and now I also add this function, not function, it's array, and I also working on JavaScript playlist. So here I want to use this playlist member, not all playlist. I want to use only this playlist member, that is JavaScript. So for that I have to use this value. So at first I have to call this object, then I have to call the object member, that is playlist, and then I have to access this value for that. So here you can, as you know, the array is always start from 0. So the value for HTML is 0, CSS for 1 and JavaScript for 2. So I write here the 2. So here you can see that when I save this file and refresh my page, now you can see that at first my playlist is HTML, CSS and JavaScript, and I also working on JavaScript. Here you can see that I access a one array member here with the help of value. Okay, now the time for the function. So at first, as you can see that I already create here a function, that is inside the function there is a variable that is 8, and inside this 8 I want to add this x and y value. So I have to pass this value with function call. So I again use the console.log because I want to print this value, and inside this console. Okay, so I use at first the obj because this is my object member. So I have to call the object, then I want the function name here. Now I have to give the value. So inside this small bracket you can give the value of your x and y here. So for x I want to give the 5 and then comma. Now I have to give for value for the y. When I save this file and refresh my page, now it's showing an error, that is y is not defined, because there is a y is small and I give the capital Y here. Now when I save this file and refresh my page, now you can see that it's an undefined. Oh sorry, I didn't print this value. I have to print this value because I call this function from here. Now if I print this value, that is add, now you can see that my value name here, sorry, addition value. So here you can see that the value I passed, that is for x is 5 and the y for 5, then its addition is 10, and here you can see that is 10, and why it's written an undefined value. So as you know, in the previous video I tell you that the console.log have no explicit return value, that's why it's written an undefined value. So here you can see that our function is working, and in that way you can add more object member as well as array and function also, and in that way you can use the array and function in an object. So this is for today. If you learned something today, then give a thumb, press the bell icon, subscribe my channel.